Okay, we're going to try one with the sum. Oh, let's try number 6. That's not so bad. That's x cubed plus 1. X cubed plus 1. So if I want to factor this, first I ask myself, is this the sum or the difference? The sum, so we have to use our sum formula. Before I can plug everything into the formula, I just have to figure out what little a and little b are. That's all. So I go back here and I ask myself, all right, well, what's the cube root of x cubed? X, and what's the cube root of 1? 1. So those, that's a, that's b. That's what I'm going to plug into that formula. Okay, so remember what the formula is. Let's see if I can get it on the screen at the same time. There it is. So I have to do a plus b. So what's that going to be? X plus 1. Then I have to do a squared, x squared, minus a times b, minus x, right? And then plus b squared, plus 1. And that's it. That's it. So the hardest part is just knowing your formulas. But at least they're the same as each other, just with 2 differences. That one's a plus, that one's a minus. And then in the minus one, all of these are pluses, and in the plus one, that's a minus. All the pieces are the same, you just got to get used to where the positives and negatives go. Each of them only has 1 negative, so that might be helpful to remember. And this guy's got it right in the front, and he's got it in the middle over here. Everything else is a plus. All right, it does get a little bit harder if you try one like number, let's jump to 10. 8x cubed plus 27. 8x cubed plus 27. Sum or difference? Sum, so I'm just going to rewrite the sum formula here, so because I can't get it all on the same screen. So sum is like this. Now, we have to think on this. Oops, wrong one. You want to take the cube root of this whole thing. What's the cube root of 8x cubed? 2x. So that whole thing is a, little a. And the cube root of 27? 3. So that's going to go in for b. All right? So when I go and do this, what's a plus b? 2x plus 3. Now, be careful. This, if you're going to make a mistake, it's probably going to be right here. Don't say anything out loud. Just think what a squared is. Just think. What is a squared in this case? You have your answer in your brain? Okay, tell me. What is it? Or don't tell me. What's 2x squared? 4x squared. You have to square the whole thing, right? 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So that goes in as a 4x squared. Minus a times b would be? Minus 6x, yes. And then plus b squared? Plus 9. So that's it if I'm just asked to factor. Again, if I'm asked to solve, now I'm going to set these things equal to 0. You get one of your zeros pretty much right away. What's the 0 that comes from that? Negative 3 halves. So I know it's crossing the x-axis at negative 3 halves. This one here, you can try and factor it. You probably won't be able to. But you can always solve using quad formula or completing the square if you really wanted. Would you do completing the square on this one? I wouldn't. Why not, Miss Sabia? B is even. I thought that made it easy. Oh yeah, only if A is 1, and it's not. So I'd have to make everybody, divide everybody by 4, and then it's not pretty anymore. So I'd probably just do quad formula there. How's this? It's all right? So why don't you guys try number 9 without me saying anything. So everybody try 9. Make sure you're using the right formula.
the zeros.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I go to do another thing, it goes like all the way down. But isn't it supposed to go down too?
Let me see.
I don't know if I just made like a stupid mistake, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah, this right here, when you didn't multiply by 6. Right? -3, so that'd be 9 times 6. So change that and I'll fix it. Yep. Okay, we got an answer? Oh, okay, let's try it. So this is the difference, but I still have to figure out what A and B are. So what's A in this case? 3x. And then B will be 1. Notice I'm not worried about the sign in the middle. The sign in the middle just tells me what formula to use. I'm not thinking about what's the cube root of -1. You know what I mean? I'm just using the two numbers on the sides, figuring out what their cube roots are. So the sign in the middle just tells me which formula I need to use, either it's the plus or the minus. So now I have A and B, and I just have to plug it in. What goes in my first parenthesis? 3x minus 1, right? And then the next one I need a squared, so that would be 9x squared plus ab plus 3x, and then plus b squared plus 1. That's it. So there is factoring the sum or difference of two cubes. Easy enough? Let me just do one more example that I'm going to make up. So let's try this. Oh. Say I asked you to factor this. 16x cubed minus 2. Well, if you try and jump into the difference of two cubes, you run into a snag right away, because is 16 a perfect cube? Is 2 a perfect cube? No. Don't forget about the golden rule number 1 of factoring, which says that we should do what? Take out a common factor if there is one. If you have a common factor, you have to take it out. So, do I have one? Yeah, take out a 2, and then I get 8x cubed minus 1. Now can I keep going? Yeah, because now I have the difference of two cubes in there. That 2 is just going to come along for the ride. It's just part of my answer. I don't really have to do anything else with it right now. So now I'll figure out the cube root of 8x cubed is 2x, and the cube root of 1 is just 1. So I'm going to have 2, just that 2 from before. Now times, this is minus, so I want a minus b, so that would be 2x minus 1. And then I want a squared. (4x squared) plus ab plus 2x, and then plus b squared plus 1. So if you were, if you were asked to factor that, just make sure that 2 that you pulled out from the beginning is just part of your answer. Because remember, when you are factoring, you're saying that all of this, if I multiply all of this back together, I will get back to the original. If you are missing that 2, you'll never get back to 16x cubed minus 2. You'll get to 8x cubed minus 1, and you'll be missing that. It's just like you can't tell me the prime factorization of 20 is 2 times 5. No, because that only gets you to 10, right? You need all the pieces. So there's factoring sum and difference of two cubes.